In the future, a method for allowing individuals to exchange years of life changes everything and turns AEON into a multi-billion-dollar company. By paying $700,000 for 15 years of a young person's life, they take advantage of the weak and force parents to exchange their children's futures. This is only effective for those whose DNA matches that of the buyer. The gap between the affluent and the poor widens as a result. As Best Employee of the Year, Max is a top-dumber scout who has already brokered 276 years this quarter alone. Age no longer determines a person's value to society, according to Sophie, the CEO of AEON and the creator of the age transfer technology. Instead, Sophie contends that people may choose how long they live. She declares that recipients of the Nobel Prize will now also have this advantage, allowing them to continue their groundbreaking work for many more years. However, there is a faction known as the Atom Group that is against life-extending treatments, who hates AEON for treating human beings like cattle. They promise to carry out the death penalty for time thieves. To make sure there are no spies left, Novak, the new head of security at AEON, intends to carefully screen each employee. Max's wife Ellie is aware of his desire for a lakefront home. Even though they haven't paid off their apartment, Max assures Ellie that they can handle taking on another debt and that they shouldn't put off having fun until they are retired. The pair makes their way to Ellie's parents' home. Her father is also against AEON. Humans are being devoured. The rich become younger, while the poor get older. Max disagrees, saying that the impoverished do at least acquire chances that they would not otherwise have. The couple's furious dispute carries on inside the vehicle. Their flat is on fire when they get there. Max attempts to comfort Ellie, who is inconsolable, saying that the insurance should pay for it. The insurance provider refuses to pay since it says a candle started the fire. The bank wants the whole $2.5 million that they owe on their mortgage. If Ellie is unable to make the payment, the bank will demand her life as collateral. She had used her lifetime as security, and Max had no idea. Max offers to swap his own lifespan, but he can't go further without a match. Ellie's only choice is to donate 40 years of her life. As she exits the building, the police hold her to make sure she doesn't leave the nation. Max promises to put an end to the matter. Max makes one more attempt to borrow $2.5 million from CEO Sophie. Max has optimism when she says she'll take his request into consideration. After weeks go by with no communication from Sophie, Ellie is compelled to carry out her time contribution. Because the operation is mandatory, Max is not allowed to visit Ellie prior to the procedure. He tries to go to her after seeing an open entrance, but security grabs him right away. Ellie is cuffed in the operating room and told by a lawyer that she has 38 years to pay. She screams out in desperation, but when the team starts the time extraction procedure, medication silences her. Lacking money, Max and Ellie relocate into a dangerous neighborhood where Ellie stays silent, and her aging process starts quickly. Max tries to console her, but she is always troubled by her appearance in the mirror. Then, what seems to be excellent news is sent to Max via notification. He's been promoted to Senior Donations Manager at AEON HQ. Instead of a promotion, he had hoped for a reaction from Sophie. Max promptly resigns, disappointed. Security stops him as he attempts to approach Sophie after seeing her in the elevator. Sophie doesn't seem to care about Max's situation. Ellie has finally been caught up by time. Max continues to tell Ellie that he loves her, but she thinks it's absurd. Everything changes with her new age, and she feels that Max is trying to be sympathetic to her. She needs to be left in peace. Max notices that even the youngest neighbors are straining to make ends meet while out for a stroll in their unstable neighborhood. Not only did Ellie's arduous operation age her, but it damaged her organs. Sadly, she miscarries when it is found that she was pregnant prior to the procedure. Ellie's parents are horrified by her state when Max brings her to their home. Although Max promises to find a means to undo the damage, Ellie's father accuses him of being at fault and places the blame on both him and the system. Max has stopped interacting with the system. Max notices a young hustler in his neighborhood who seems younger than she really is, but he understands that this isn't AEON's fault. He comes up to ask for the number of the person who changed her age. Max sets up a meeting in Lithuania with a doctor who lives underground, then purchases a handgun and phony IDs. Following a vehicle he sees driving away to a cemetery, Max stakes out Sophie's apartment. It turns out that Sophie is the one who snatched Ellie's time. He opens a rear gate, armed, and approaches her. He overpowers her, forcing her to follow him while he carves the name Adam on a gravestone as a message. Max goes up to Ellie again and begs her to put her confidence in him. They wear masks after going to an abandoned tow yard. Max explains to Ellie why Sophie never responded to his plea for assistance. While all of this is going on, Novak confers with Sophie's personal security. He is certain that Max is the one responsible for the killing, and he has collected enough proof to rule out the Adam gang. He has located himself. Ellie finds this absurd because, even if their plan works, they would always be on the run. Max had braced himself for Sophie seeing his face. When the special squad gets to the tow yard, the couple has already departed. They have a new car. While looking for Max at AEON HQ, Novak informs Kaya about Max and Ellie. Max's original task was to find Ellie a donor. Rather, they called off the donation plan because they fell in love. Subsequently, an odd fire at their flat compounded their debt and raised the possibility of malicious intent. However, Kaya doesn't give a damn since she isn't here to determine who is right. Her only responsibility is to safeguard Sophie's lineage. She is 64 years old chronologically. Thus, she has a huge obligation to Sophie. On a ferry headed for Lithuania, Novak discovers Max and Sophie cuddling. They now know what their plans are for Sophie. Max observes as he gets closer to the harbor that it is crowded with police cruisers, perhaps looking for them. He comes up with a fast idea after realizing they've reached a dead end. In order to go past customs undetected, Max forces a family to assist them, holding them captive while hiding Ellie and Sophie in the rear. Sophie tries to warn the officer during the inspection, but she is not heard. Despite the family man's anxious manner, the officer eventually grants them passage on the captain's orders. Max shoots the family's tire and damages their phones as they drive farther away from the dock. There was nothing for them to do. They use side routes to avoid the cops and wait for the doctor to get in touch. Sophie expresses uncertainty about their intentions when they give her a moment to breathe, saying her mother would cover the cost of her release. They then learn that she is, in fact, Marie, Sophie's daughter. Max, who is skeptical, looks for any information on Marie online but comes up empty. He shoves her back into the vehicle, determined to carry out their plan, dismissing her allegation as a ruse. This sows a doubtful thought in their minds. The couple chooses to seek refuge since they are worried that the surgery may not go through if their DNA doesn't match, and they think the doctor's offer could be a fraud. They decide to take temporary shelter at an abandoned hotel so they can reorganize and remain warm. They light the fireplace while the electricity is still on. After Murray finds out that Ellie gave her mother 40 years of her life, Ellie feels sympathy for her. As Murray starts to understand the circumstances, she comes out against life donations herself. Max wants to silence Marie since he's becoming tired of her chatting, but Ellie steps in. Although Max is unsure whether he abducted the correct person, he believes that first-degree relatives like Marie could still be candidates for the treatment. This suggests that Max's passion is becoming more and more of a focus than Ellie's own priorities. Max feels guilty, but Mary plays on it by wanting to change under the flowing water. Mary tells the tale of how her mother, Sophie, created life donation after trying in vain to preserve the life of Marie's elder sister, who passed away. This prepares the scene for an ambush by acting as a diversion. She seizes the opportunity, takes Max's phone, and flees. Mary calls AEON when she's in the woods, but she doesn't get through. She crosses a marsh at danger while Max pursues her. Her phone falls, and she begins to plummet when she finally makes contact with Kaya. Ellie arrives in time to save her. When they return her, Murray is having a shower when Ellie notices that she doesn't have any scars from the surgery, which supports her thoughts that Marie was speaking the truth. Max receives a second burner phone, but the doctor has not updated him. Max responds that Ellie's scar is natural, since it regenerates during rejuvenation. He still thinks Marie is playing them knave to manipulate them. Marie hears the humming noises as Max persuades her that this is the best course of action, and they start it. Marie's brief call enabled Novak and Kaya to find them. With the additional troops, they are ready to rescue Marie. They are like an army. At gunpoint, the couple is woken in the meanwhile. It's Eva, the group spokesperson for Adam. Mary is taken by them, and they all go to a new place. Eva points up the series of strange coincidences. After Max wins Employee of the Year, their opulent home inexplicably burns down. It is much too costly for them. This occurs at the exact moment that Sophie is in dire need of a life donor. Ellie is the only one who can return their debt with her time so Sophie may live longer when Max's ideal match tragically perishes in a motorcycle accident. Now that Marie is the only member of that dysfunctional family still awake, the two of them intend to do the same thing with her. Eva is called out by Ellie. She's not much better, murdering innocent people. After donning their masks, the Adam gang hands Ellie the pistol so she may shoot Marie. Eva reveals that she determined at some time that her life is worth more, even if it meant taking 40 years off this girl. Mary's life or Ellie's is it? Ellie has to decide what to do. She sets down the gun after coming to her own determination. When faced with a choice, everyone turns into a pacifist. But when white lab coat wearing individuals make the decision for them, it's okay. This is the reason why giving a life is so risky. Max answers his phone. It's the doctor. Sadly, he won't be able to make that appointment. The army unexpectedly shows up where the Adam gang is trying to use Max's bait to entice Sophie and take her with them. Eva continues to advise Max to carry out their strategy if he hopes to see Ellie alive. Max approaches the army cautiously and requests to meet with Sophie about whether they want to keep Marie alive. Eva replies that Novak would take care of Sophie in case things don't go out as planned. Sophie intervenes and offers Ellie's years and her daughter's freedom in exchange for $10 million. But Max, a previous top employee, knows her tricks. She lists the perks as if he'll get a wonderful bargain. He's losing now, however, since he no longer only has Ellie's and his life to bargain with. He has Ellie's 40 years, and Sophie has her daughter. Max will let Sophie see Murray to make sure she's still alive, but he swears that Ellie will kill Murray if anybody else enters the room with them. Sophie consents to enter by herself. Kaya is curious as to how Max found out that Sophie will be present. Kaya shouts that it's a trap when she doesn't hear back. As Kaya neutralizes Novak by switching targets, Kaya fires when he hesitates to aim. Eva gives the order to shoot for her squad to ensure Sophie is dead, and a fight breaks out. Who do you think would prevail in a struggle between a tiny number of separatists and a complete private army? Eva pulls away as Max rushes in and speaks to him. Max approaches his wife cautiously. RPGs are too strong for Adam's crew to defeat. Max eventually makes it to his wife and Marie by taking down one of the gang members who is left to stand watch. After he sets them both free, they rush to get a vehicle, but Murray pulls a revolver on Ellie, the same gun that Ellie had before aimed at her. When Mary presses the trigger, nothing happens. After Ellie crushes the tiny cunt, they swiftly leave the area and put her in the back car. After Adam's group has finally concluded, Kaya grabs Novak's phone and dials the last number he tried. Eve's phone is connected to it. He was a spy all along. They should arrive in time since they are getting close to the doctor's designated spot. Max, however, questions their humanity and questions the morality of what they did. However, Ellie loses all compassion for Murray and becomes more resolute, particularly in the wake of her attempted suicide. Ellie is steadfast in her goal to get her life back with Max. Max decides to take Marie to the hospital as he is unable to carry out his original plan. Ellie pulls over and issues an ultimatum, threatening to take off herself if he doesn't get out of the vehicle. Max is left with his guilt as Ellie drives off without him. When they get there, the doctor and 2 trucks arrive. Mary is under strong sedation, much like her, and Ellie is prepared for the process. Max witnesses a refugee bus leaving a camp. When the bus gets to the doctor's office, even 5-year-olds are already being utilized as living donors for the wealthy. Ellie ignores it, having finished her treatment. Max saw additional buses pulling into the refugee camp, which is now being utilized as a cattle farm. Mary is found by Kaya, who returns her to Sophie. Despite being shot into her bulletproof vest, Mary is unharmed. While Sophie is determined to keep looking for Max and Ellie, Kaya resigns, saying she is tired of setting up mishaps and pursuing individuals. Mary returned home and began to age. Although she would need her life to continue her studies, her mother declined to give it up for her daughter, promising to do her best to locate a donor. Sophie had children because she would not hesitate to utilize her daughter's years in an emergency. Max discovers Ellie is expecting, but she is seeing someone else. After going over everything for her, he took charge of Adam's group. If not for them, then for their kids, he will battle AEON until there are no more time contributions.